That's mean.
Meetings.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Lonnie, I heard you.
Hey, Bob.
How's it going?
Oh, I can't hear you.
Hi.
Oh, hello. I'm not sure I know how this works exactly, so I think I sent it to you instead of just saying hello to everyone. So, hello, Chobita.
Hello, everyone. Yes, we're going to be getting here shortly. We've got Marc, Cashman, Dave Walsh, Joe Cipriano, and yours truly, Randy Thomas, is on the way. So thank you so much for being patient. Here we go.
And start video. Are we live? Yes, we are.
This is way cool. Totally way cool, way cool. Thank you very much
Thank you,
for that
Jen.
dramatic open, you guys. Hello, hello. All right, I'm barely hearing myself, so I don't know what we can do about that. Are you guys hearing me? Give me a thumbs up if you think the audio level is good. Is it good? Okay, great. Oh my,
Sounds good, Randy.
so wonderful to see everyone here. So I'm trying to get the right angle. We're here at Media City Sound Studios, and this is the fabulous board that is in A. I remember the first time I came to the studio when I was living here back in the 90s and early 2000s, and I remember coming into A at Media City Sound and thinking, this is big time. This is what a real LA big time studio feels like. And this is the home for where we are going to be doing our VOMastery master classes. I'm not sure if everyone is on page with how it's working, but pretty much we've divided up 2 days. The 27th is master classes only that start around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. Here at Media City Sound, we're going to go from 3 until 8 on Friday. So that'll be 3 master classes times 3, right? At 2 hours each. Then on Saturday morning, everyone comes to the Sportsman's Lodge for our 9 a.m. start. And David Kay, the incredible David Kay, will be our kickoff keynote. And then around 10 o'clock in the morning, what we're going to do is we begin with master classes for Saturday. And that's when folks who are taking the 3 master classes on Saturday show. Do we want to do the screen at this time to show how those classes line up? Just talk about them. So we have master classes, and if you've had a chance to go to the website and see which classes you're interested in, it's master classes and general session between here and the hotel. I was trying to do a walkthrough on Facebook Live between the hotel and Media City Sound so you could see that it's really It's just what, a quick 1.5, 2-minute walk at best. And for those of you that are New Yorkers, you know, you're used to these kind of walks. In LA, no one walks, I think. We walk to our car. And we fight for the closest space. So we don't walk nearly enough in Los Angeles. We are here at Media City Sound Studios because I wanted all of my my pros who are working with us. Bob Merkel, yay! I see Bob Merkel is here. We've got Robert Siglin Paglia. I understand. I've been saying your name wrong all these years, Rob. I'm really sorry about that. But Rob Siglin Paglia is the attorney bringing his A-team. What does every pro need? The A-team, an attorney, an agent, and an accountant. Because there comes a time in a career when you do get successful where you need all the help you can in dealing with your money, not overpaying in taxes, you know, figuring out which corporation, what kind of corp you want to set up so that you can make your business actually work for you. And so I know Rob is going to be talking about that. In studio with us right now, we have Dave Walsh, Marc Cashman. Unbelievable that they are here tonight. Do I see now? Where would they show up on my
voiceover pros?
My VO pros. They're incredible.
We just saw ourselves waving. That's how we knew.
Oh, I see. Yeah. There you go. You're the duo, the dynamic duo. So we have you on a 2-shot on Carson's computer.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, let's give them the mic. That would definitely be more important that they have a good mic so that we can have an interview.
The pros who can't speak.
Well, it's worse when you're pros that speak, but we can't hear.
There you go.
Because we know everything you guys say is of great value.
Lovely.
I'd like to
I'll let you jump off on that one. That needed.
I would love to think that.
Wouldn't it be lovely?
Ask my wife about that.
Oh, okay. So, how long have you guys known each other, truthfully?
Not that long. We've known each other. We've known each other through the business. Because I'm constantly hearing, you know, about Dave, and
you as
and
well.
Dave's constantly hearing about me, and
Yeah.
plus he owes me money from a long time ago, and we don't
Which
talk
is why
about
we
that.
haven't talked. in
Exactly.
so many years.
That's exactly. But actually, no, it's funny. We've been in the business a long time, and have been not
We've
in the
actually
same
been
places.
peripheral around each other.
So
Yeah.
we're really glad that you brought us together.
Yeah.
Actually, this time around. In fact, maybe
Which is fantastic.
next year, maybe we'll talk about doing a
A thing together?
Yeah.
Wow, that would be
Goodness.
fantastic. So, I mean, because I know that you're both able to coach in so many different genres of voiceover. Dave is known for your True Tell,
Yes.
something you've developed that you're really working with that applies to all genres of voiceover. And Marc, you are the True Tell.
Yeah.
He's the walking epitome of it.
You know, it's so funny. I was talking to some other coaches, and we all basically agree that we're all on the same page. We're just figuring out how to get that information across in just a different way.
Yeah,
But-
that's true.
But we're all basically agreed on the same page.
Exactly.
If any one of us were a fly on the wall in a session,
Mhm.
I would say, yeah, right. Yes, exactly. That's
That's it.
Yeah,
You're hearing the
absolutely.
same thing.
That's exactly it. It's,
Right.
Yes, what he said. Absolutely what he said.
Mhm.
So it's really amazing that and it's taken us a while. I don't know how long it took you. It took me. I mean, I've been teaching. This is now my 17th year of teaching, and
My 10.
the good thing is that every year I try to make things different. I try to discover new things and discover new ways to basically teach what we teach.
Right.
And the more, it's funny. I know some people who the more they do this, they've gotten burnt out,
Mhm.
and it's just been the opposite for me.
Me too.
I
And would
agree,
admit-
because everything changes. It's if you
Totally.
have a style that you wanted to teach in and that style is no longer relevant, then I can see why you might feel burned out. But
Yeah.
to me, like one of the things that I love about creating an event is that I learn so much. You know, I'm an artist, I'm working, and I'm inspired, and influenced by not only the coaches, but those who come to the class that are showing us what they've got. And I'm like, wow, I don't think I would have thought to read it like
Completely. And they bring something new to the table for you.
that. Because they're new and they
Exactly.
don't have all these years of practice and study. There's just this natural thing that comes out of people that just have talent.
Right. And the thing that I've noticed too over the last few years is the true tell concept that you and I have talked about, where it's really talking about, but I know that Marc has brought this up in his own workshops without even having been there, is, and you as well, is authenticity. Is that everything in the work is about bringing your own truth, your own true tell to every read. But the thing that I've noticed over the last 5 years, having coached for 10, that the change in technology and the fact that we can do this in the studio, multiple cameras using only laptops, which is amazing. But it's what people coming into the business in 2011, in 2014, and 2016, and now has changed how we coach, because it's knowing and understanding home studios, proliferation of work in smaller markets, bigger markets, and how we as coaches, whether we're in LA, New York, Chicago, or in smaller markets, how we have to change and respond to the changing marketplace. And so that changes how we adapt and change our curriculum.
And does it seem to change in the same fashion between commercial reads, promo reads, narration? Is it all seeming to shift to a less formal? Is it in everything it's less formal these days?
I think in terms of the change in the culture, the political climate, what has changed in terms of the country becoming either more unified or more divisive, things have changed, particularly in promo. In news promo, definitely those reads have changed to much more polarized positions. The networks have made their platforms much more definitive. In regular mainstream promo, the reads have allowed themselves to go to much more traditional reads somewhat. They're coming back with heavier voices. Some of the other networks are going much more casual, but the broadcast networks themselves are going much more traditional. I think that they're not going so anti-read as much as they used to. I'm going to let Marc kind of segue into commercial and see what
you know. It's interesting. I was just talking. Somebody asked me to critique a demo the other day, and the demo was a little bit on the announcery side. But the thing is, there's a call for announcers.
I agree.
That is almost not a lost art, but it is definitely something that, it's interesting. Agents kind of poo-poo it. They say, oh, it sounds very announcery. But you listen to spots on the air, you listen to radio and TV, you hear a shitload of announcements.
True. We're allowed to say that on a webinar, by the way.
It's the internet. Now that I know that.
It's like HBO. That's exactly. So I think there'll always be a call for announcers.
Yeah,
always.
I do too.
And what Dave was saying about the traditional VO, there's always going to be a call for traditional VO.
But
it seems to be the only way to set oneself apart, because if you're living in a world of just very casual or very sort of fast talk, not really enunciated reads, and then someone comes across that's actually, more eloquent in their specific delivery, that almost stands out. And is that a good thing? Is it, I guess that's still very demographic specific.
Speaking of demographic specific, I've noticed something as well, not just announcers, but I don't know, if you listen carefully to radio and TV commercials, you're going to hear a lot more mature voices. You're going to hear a lot more people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Why? Because the baby boomers are now in charge of everything. And they don't want wet behind the ears 20-somethings telling them about Viagra.
But they do want that age bracket, but they still want it with a younger read. Because
they'll always want youth. They'll always want youth, but there are a lot more mature voices on the air.
I think to speak to that too, I think that there is the talk sometimes of agents that they do want new talent that is in their 20s, in their early 30s, because their rosters do have their clients who have grown up with them and who are still with them, that there is that viability for the older voice in terms of what's definitive. It might be a more specific read, but it definitely is viable. But I think that what they're I'm looking for too is they do look for the 20 pluses, they look for the millennials, they look for the 30 plus
Always.
rate.
They're always going
You
to
know.
look for 20-something.
Right.
They'll
Yeah.
crawl over their grandmother to get to the 20-something.
And do you think
Correct.
part of that is that all of us in our minds, we want to be younger?
Yeah.
So even though it's a younger
Yeah.
voice that's not a peer voice that is speaking to us, we might actually listen because like they represent younger, hipper, cooler. And well, yeah, I want to be that, you know.
Right. I mean, I think that to the point that we were making earlier about traditional voices and even the younger demographic,
Yeah.
it's not, and I want just people that are, everybody that's watching, whoever's coming to the VOMastery in 2
Mhm.
weeks, tickets are still available. It's what we're talking about with traditional reads doesn't mean that it's a read that you think sounds like an announcer, that
Right.
it sounds like a particular VO announcer.
Right.
It's going back to authenticity within the announcer read, that there are people that come into VO who come from a radio background
Right.
or have voices that lend themselves to more announcerish kinds of
Sure.
voices. But what is the truth that's being told in the story inside of the voice?
Right.
That's the thing that we're
Right.
going to target at Mastery. It's really talking about whether it's narration, commercial, promo, trailer, affiliate, imaging. What is
Sure.
the story that's being
Well,
told
there's-
truthfully inside of that?
There's a voice and then there's your heart. There's
Totally.
who you really are. And if you think it's about putting a voice on, then that's where you're not going to be able to book or have a very long career.
Right.
Exactly. But I used to say, like when I first started coaching, when it was the Dawn thing, you know, the inner world, and then I'd meet men that have these incredible voices, and I would say, so if Don is someone you're hearing that you'd like to be like, well then, you know, try to read like him but make it yours. And I think that gets lost among young people because it's like, well, what does that really mean? But because until you figure out what your exact sound is,
Right.
I say emulate someone that's great. But, you know, when we're talking in terms of coming to VOMastery and we're talking master classes, we're talking another level. For example, when you do a general session at an event, that gives you a chance to really let people know what you know about the genre, how you teach. We're going to be letting people read every hour during every presentation. At least 2 people will read. Then we're going to give away some prizes later on in the day. At our after party at Hyperion, we'll give away awards for the best cold live reads because that's terrifying to stand up in a room with pros
Sure it is.
judging
Oh,
you.
yeah.
And if you've got the cojones to do it and we think that you had a great read, we're definitely, yeah, Carson's like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all a bunch of show-offs. I think
That's what we do.
I think that's how we all started. We were like, I'll read, I'll do it. You
Yes.
know, I was that kid in school. I'd
That's
always
right.
have my hand.
That's right. The overwhelming majority of all voice actors, when the teacher said, who'd like to read? We all
We were the
raised-
overachievers.
we all
of one of
raised
the
our
ones
hands.
that did it.
We all
Right.
raised our hands.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So,
Because we wanted to get on the school PA system. That's what we wanted. We wanted to go into the principal's office, get on that PA system and tell the whole school what was going on.
It was like the biggest thing. My parents, I went to a Catholic grammar school in middle school, and I remember that, well, all 12 years. But I remember you just reminded me of, I was actually picked to do the announcements for the day.
Uh-huh.
You would have thought that I had won, you know, the National Honor Society award. That my mother was literally she was levitating. It was just, you know,
my son, the announcer.
my son, the actor.
But you started as an actor.
I did what I did, and I actually went when I first came to LA. Though I started working at a talent agency. That was my first job, and went to come to work in production. I did a lot of theater in college and high school, but when I moved to LA, the love was television and it was radio, and I had a choice of either living out of a suitcase and moving from market to market, as my incredible friends who worked the radio circuit for years, or coming and working in production in LA. And I ended up working in talent agency and worked in publicity as a publicist. So I came from the corporate or the business side of Hollywood,
Right.
and understood what it was to do deal memos, contracts, understood how to send thank you notes, congratulations notes, who was moving to what studio, etc. So I learned the inner workings of Hollywood
Mhm.
itself. So now having talent agents as clients and as people who represent me, I understand the inner workings of an agent's mind and respect it in a way where I came at it from that end when I
Right.
first got here.
Right.
So it's really, really served me well, and having been a publicist as well, understanding branding and marketing, et cetera. And I incorporate that into my work with in my own work, but also with the client's work.
Right. Because I've always thought of you as a talent. And then I see, because of this corporate, that side of you, why you would be a great coach, because you do have that understanding as well as the ability.
Yeah, I try to kind of incorporate what the vendors and what the buyers are thinking, because we know that, when I was one of the voices of the WB for years, and the joke was that I always had a show at the WB that had 2 share. I was always given, I'm not even kidding you. Ask Debbie Coe. I was always given shows that had a 2 share, 4 share. It was a show that had 6 weeks to run. The actual season.
Sure, of course.
But it was knowing that those shows had short shelf lives, because I came from that world and knew that we're going to look for a new product, because in 6 weeks is going to be something new happening. But it's also teaching clients how to think about the business as a business, because that's what the studio heads and the network heads are thinking.
True.
The buyers.
Well, for anyone that's ever tried to sell a show, as I've done a few, it seems to me that the great thing about the industry is that it's based on failure. Wasn't, the same shows would run all the time and we wouldn't have new content. So the fact that new shows happen all the time because shows are constantly failing should at least support your dream, if that's what you want to do, because you never know when you're going to hit on the right
Career
idea.
based on failure. How do you like
Exactly.
that?
Well, it's an industry based on failure.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're coaching for 17 years, and what were you doing
Wow.
up until coaching?
And I'm still doing it, fortunately. Not as much, but I came to LA. My hero, this is for older people, this is for people who are 50 plus. My hero is Stan Freberg.
Oh, of course.
I don't know if you know who Stan Freberg was.
Absolutely.
Stan Freberg was the godfather or the grandfather of humorous radio. And he was a radio, that was his specialty, was radio.
Right.
I thought his stuff was terrific, and I just said, I want to come to Los Angeles and be a radio producer, and radio commercial producer and writer.
Wow.
And so that's that I came here.
Did you work with Dick Orkin?
Dick was
Amazing.
Dick was just absolutely, he was just so sweet to me, so nice, so generous, so he helped me out whenever
Tell
I
our
asked him
Zoomers
to.
about Dick and how they would know him.
Dick Orkin ran and still runs technically a production company called the Radio Ranch.
Right.
Yes.
And Dick Orkin teamed up with Burt Burtis back in the 60s and 70s, and even the 80s they were working together. It was mainly the 80s that was really their heyday. And when I came to Los Angeles again, I met all these other independent radio producers. It was an actual phenomenon called an independent radio commercial producer. Who knew? And so I didn't work for radio stations. I had my own production company and specialized in radio for a good 20 years before I started teaching. But Stan Freberg, again, my idol, my total idol. and
Amazing.
You talk about emulating people you admire.
Right.
That was it. I just said to myself, if I can be even half as good as Stan Freberg, I'll be great.
Well, so
Because
Stan
was amazing.
Freberg, Monty Python, they all sort of,
Yes.
came out of that
Humor,
that era.
satire, everything.
Yeah.
It was just terrific.
Brilliant.
And so that was my business model for a good 20 the 80s and 90s, just a ton of production. And that's how I started coaching, because I've been working with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of voice talent in the studio, and I had my pick of the best of the best. I could cherry pick SBB and all the other, and every agency. It's okay, I want him and I want her, and
the power.
in.
Right.
And these people were, of course, they were amazing. They were amazing voice actors. And what was interesting was that literally just a couple of years after I got into it, my clients started saying, why don't you voice this for us? And I immediately said, no, There are so many other people who are better than me. Please, well, you got your choice of anybody in the world. Why would you? But a number of them were insistent that I do the voiceover, and that's where I said, "Oh shit, I got to learn something very, very quickly
And pick it up.
and pick it up very quickly." So in the early '80s, I think that we started one of the first. I was in one of the very first voiceover workout groups that started in 1982.
Wow.
82.
I didn't move here till
That's
86.
right.
So
A voiceover workout group. We worked out every single week and got together and pooled. And now voiceover workout groups are ubiquitous.
Yep.
They're
well,
everywhere,
sure.
and they're fantastic.
They're a necessity.
I was in my group for almost 6 years.
Right. But they had to be people that could physically drive to a space.
Correct.
That is
Today,
correct.
we have this.
That is correct.
Exactly.
We have the
had to
ability.
go- It was on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Right.
It was just west of La Brea. I'm trying to remember.
Was it
Hark
SSI?
Sound.
Not SSI.
Not SSI, but it was close. Hark Sound.
Okay.
You remember Hark Sound?
Hark Sound. I know
Yes,
exactly.
exactly. It
what
was on Orange or
God,
something.
that's really taking
Yes, I know. Going
That's
back,
awesome.
exactly.
That's fantastic.
Every week, once a week, we all pooled. Everybody put in $10, and we rented the studio for 3 hours. And
That's
did
Good
it.
amazing.
times.
So, all of you out there who are online right now watching this, either going to the event in a couple of weeks or thinking of going to the event in a couple of weeks, number of things that you're going to hear throughout the entire weekend, most likely from many people, is join a voiceover workout group. If
It
you,
really helps.
you can do it live, you can do it virtually. If you live in any big city, they're innumerable. They're all over the place. You can go online and find them, and it's great. It just basically polishes your skills.
Right.
You're just honing your skills, and you're keeping
Absolutely.
yourself sharp for when the next opportunity comes along. And
Right.
speaking of the next opportunity coming along,
Look it, he just came along.
how's that for a segue?
Good timing,
How's that
Mark.
for a segue? How are you
How are
doing,
you, Mark?
Joe?
Good to see you.
Good to see
How you
you.
guys doing?
Good. Very
Hi,
good.
Randy.
Hi, Joe. Hi, honey. You look so handsome.
You're
Sure.
scooting a little closer.
Scooting.
You all like shooting.
Oh, look, there I am.
There he is.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
You know,
Here we go.
actually, we could bring one. I could have someone next to me.
Perfect.
There we go.
So,
So,
good timing.
so what have you been doing?
We've been vamping until you can.
Yeah. All a big vamp.
And,
I'm happy to be here.
what were we talking about? We were talking about also. Oh, we were
The
talking
studio
about
in 19.
how we started. Dave was
Oh.
talking about how we started. Came here and he was working for a talent agency. I came here. I started my own production company. I wanted to be the next Stan Freberg. You know who that is.
Are you kidding?
Of course you do.
I remember Stan Freberg back when I started in radio, all of his comedy stuff bits
Sure.
for radio that we would play.
Yeah.
And-
Filling the Rose Bowl with,
Brilliant.
with whipped cream and a
Absolutely,
helicopter comes in.
absolutely brilliant.
It was like the magic of radio.
It was the
And then
magic.
at the end of it, he said, go ahead and do that on television.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's so great. You were allowed to do that on Top 40 radio.
We
They played
did,
Stan
yeah.
Freberg.
Small market.
It was at that time.
Early 70s.
See, because
Yeah.
I was in
Yeah, that's right.
Freeform.
Yeah.
That's
Whipped
what
cream's
it is.
expensive.
It was theater of the mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always. So,
Exactly.
what? Where are you from? LA?
No, I'm from Connecticut, and I grew up I started in radio at 14 years of age, and the reason why I got into radio was I wanted to be in television. I knew I wanted to do something in television. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I
It's kind
figured
of the
to
trend.
get to television, you got to start in radio. That's how the old Bob Hope did it, Gene Crosby did it, all the, all those guys did it. So, so I got into radio. I was a junior in high school. Well, actually, I started when I was just barely into high school and got hired when I was a junior. And I used the name Tom Collins, which, by the
Wait,
way,
did your dad drive you or did you take a bus to work?
I
How'd you
took
get
a
there?
bus and my dad would pick me up late at night because I'd get off at midnight. But funny thing, J. Michael Collins,
Mhm.
his son,
Is Tom
Tom
Collins.
Collins, said, "You're kidding me."
That's
So
funny.
he is my namesake.
So
I
you
swear
were
I had nothing to do with it.
so you were in Connecticut. You were on the air in Connecticut.
Yeah, I was on the air in Connecticut, and I moved to Washington, D.C. I got a job in D.C. It's where I met my lovely wife, where I met Ann. We both worked at NBC together. And
But you were on
that's,
air- on
I was
air in
on air.
Washington?
Yeah, I was a radio personality. And that's when I started to understand that there was something called voiceover. I started to do regional commercials for car dealerships. They were really classy spots, and they were union spots. And Lori Allen's dad, Elliot Denenberg, who for years and years and years, I never knew that Elliot Denenberg was Lori Allen's dad.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys who first hired me in Washington, D.C. 1977. I learned that Lori Allen is his daughter about 3 years ago.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
I was like, what?
That's a mind
Yeah,
blower.
and I met him at Sobis a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
Again, I did
Aw.
but I started doing that, and I said, you know what? Those guys that are doing those TV promos, and later I learned it was like Danny Dark, and who was a mentor of mine, and Ernie Anderson, and all those guys.
Chuck.
And that's what I wanted to do. And then I said to Ann, she was in broadcasting, if we want to move our broadcasting career forward, we got to be in New York or LA. So we took 10 days. We did 5 days in New York. We stayed at the Plaza Hotel, and 5 days out here, and we stayed at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Sure.
And I did it in winter. That's where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So, and I sold
You know how to play.
LA looked so
down the
good
line.
in winter,
the
didn't
last
it?
thing I'll say about that is I had to take a pay cut to come here. So my pay for radio went down like about 35-40%. Ann, who was a news writer and producer, her pay went up at least 50%.
It all
East
comes out in the
Coast,
wash.
So it
female,
balanced, right?
college journalist from an East Coast school.
Right.
So she was a hot commodity. I was
Right.
like, we got a million DJs.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is
Absolutely. Here we
It's
sit.
true. And it's funny because Anne, a lot of the folks that Anne worked with early in her career in LA are women that I'm friends with. So, you know, they
Yeah,
eventually went on to ET, and, you know, so
Sure.
there's a
that's
lot
right. Yeah,
lot of
our beloved Bonnie
cross-pollination.
Siegel. Yeah.
Yeah.
ET.
So this is A. Have you ever worked in the studio here
I
in
was
Media
just
City?
thinking about, I remember doing a Brad Lockman show here. And it was, the reason why it really pops into my mind is because we did it on a weekend. And I thought, oh God, it was a weekend gig, but it was here.
Yeah.
And
I was
Brad
talking
Lockman.
about how this room felt like this is big time LA.
Oh, this is an awesome room.
Yeah.
It's a great room.
They
This-
don't
this
build
building-
studios. Yeah,
No, not like
No.
this. No.
So here at Media City Sound, they have A, which is this legendary room, and then there's B, which is a slightly smaller room. And those are the two studios we're going to work back and forth from. And then there's a conference room because, like Robert Siglampalia's, Haglia's.
Very close.
I'm impressed you even tried. I just call him Bob.
Good for you.
Smart.
So,
smart.
and you're Italian, you know how to roll
I
those
know.
things out.
Yeah.
So he's going to be doing, the A team. You need an attorney, an agent, and an accountant, of course, right? Someone to count the money. So so he'll be doing that. Jay Micah will have a couple of sessions in the conference room, which is a cool space. They have a great kitchen here. I remember when I was teaching here before I left LA to move to Florida, this was the studio I used, and we'd always steal snacks from the kitchen.
I didn't know that, Randy.
Yes, I know.
You taught here?
I
Awesome.
did
Wow.
for numerous years, actually. Yeah, I ran into Alan many years ago, Alanette, who is the
Alanette, yeah.
composer who
Right.
built this studio originally for composing. And then he realized that there was a lot of voiceover being done in this town. So he had a bunch of studios, but now they just have two because most of what happens today, the audio is delivered and it's a lot of mixing. So they just have a lot of mixing spaces
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So we have A, we have B, we have the conference room, and this is where all the master classes will take place.
And that's going to be Friday night and Saturday, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, you'll be coming on Friday
Friday
to do
night.
your master class,
Yeah.
and then we lose you for Saturday, but we're just so glad that you were able to fit us in with your busy schedule.
Yeah.
And,
Bucktown. Always the most. I gotta tell you, this man. Anywhere I go, he is the best dressed man in voiceover. I swear to God, there isn't anyone that I've ever seen. Joe, seriously, I swear to God, I come in and go, I'm dressed. This man is so impeccable. everywhere he
yeah.
goes. And that's a testament. to
No,
him.
it's true.
He's
He's
incredible.
style and class, but I think the difference is when you think about what radio he came from top 40, you know. They were
T-shirts
really
and jeans.
T-shirts and jeans. They were a little more clean cut. I came out of rock radio. We were like the hippies, you know.
I wish we could pull up that picture right now of you queuing up a record.
Oh God, when I was
W4 in Detroit.
W4 in Detroit.
It's a great
Yeah,
picture.
my black and white photo.
Yeah.
Did you meet Magic the Wonder, Great
I
Dane?
did.
Isn't
And
she
Arnie
the
out
sweetest?
there, too.
Yeah, aren't they're sitting in here
Oh, are
listening.
they in here?
Yeah, they
Arnie
came
was
in.
protecting the front door. I walked in, he goes, oh.
Did you lock the door when he came in?
Apparently not.
Did you lock the door when he came in?
No, I did.
No, we need to lock the door.
Oh,
Yeah, we
okay.
could have-
I'll
We
go
might
do
get
that.
more voiceover.
Don't do it.
Yeah, you don't
Someone
know who
will.
I got in here. Who knows? who
Really?
can Get in here.
That's so true. So for those of you that have been to this area, it's right next to Jerry's Deli and just a few doors
And the
away
bowling
from
alley.
the Sportsman's Lodge and the bowling alley. I'm not a bowler,
Yes,
so.
it
This
is.
area, well, yeah, this whole area.
And
is
across the
so rich
street,
history.
I used to work at Hallmark Movie Channel.
Is that, are they still
Yeah,
located
they're
there?
just a little
They're
bit
still
down the
It's,
road.
yeah, sort of
Are they
up on
the hill
that,
still?
They are.
They're still
Yeah.
up there, yeah.
Crown Media.
Crown Media, that's it.
yeah. So,
Absolutely.
well, welcome to the Valley. I know you don't come to the Valley.
That's not true.
You know, Beverly Hills, Bel Air,
Oh, well.
Pacific Palisades. you know.
She.
So yeah, so we're incredibly excited. Someone had asked me, I was at George and Dan's the other night doing their webinar,
That's right.
Yes.
and he said, what is the difference between a master class and a general session class? So obviously time constraints being what they are, in a general session throughout the course of the day at VOMastery, we have many presenters coming through and several presenters sometimes. And so those are just shorter, more truncated, condensed.
And a smaller, more intimate setting, I would imagine, too, right?
Yeah, well, we have a beautiful setting
Mhm.
for you haven't been to the ballroom yet, but yeah, so we've got a great room over at the hotel. And yeah, VOMastery, we pride ourselves. We don't do hundreds.
Mhm.
We'll have 30 people floating around here during the course of the day. And we've got seating for 80 in at Sportsman's. So that's why we like to say it's
And by the way, the
exclusive
best
and
party-
inclusive.
The best Saturday night party in town, too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just went to the Space, Carson and Jack at
I had to
Hyperion.
wheel Jack Daniel out.
They don't call him
Yeah,
Jack
right.
Daniel for
That's
nothing.
right, exactly.
From a guy named Tom Collins.
Yeah.
You know what?
There
At
you
the
go.
station where I was Tom Collins, our afternoon guy was Johnny Walker. Serious.
Of
Yeah.
course, and they were all a bunch of alcoholics.
Yeah,
weren't they?
right.
Exactly. Well, we
It
were
was the
kids.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So, you know,
Should be.
I was going to say, you know, in an album rock, it was like Toke Low, you know, whatever.
Right. They used to, we had an album rock FM in Washington, D.C., and they'd always do something special at 422 in the evening.
Do you know, I didn't know what that was until just like maybe 8 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I was
sure, Randy.
no, it's true. I was staying in a hotel.
She
They're
was
like,
so
"What-"
high, she didn't know.
They were like, "What room are you in?" I'm like, 422, and they started laughing.
Oh.
And I'm like, "What's so funny?" Now I know.
Now, I was just in a hotel room when I was doing San Diego Aviators, the tennis team, and the room was 416, and I made a big deal. Okay,
Yeah,
who knows why this room is special? I think Jack jumped on it first.
There you go. Boy, we've got a lot of people in the chat. Media City Sound. Someone asked.
Someone asked about the 6-second demos that Sal has.
Oh well, you know, J. Michael Collins came up with the 6-second demo, and I've been listening to a lot of the demos. Which really, when you do a commercial demo, how many cuts do you put in a 60-second demo?
I put 6.
The average is
About
6.
6.
The average
5
is
to 6.
The average is 6.
So
6
that would
seconds.
be 10 seconds.
Got it.
Yeah.
Approximately 10.
Yeah.
Good math.
So
I
6
had to take
demos,
my
10.
shoes off.
Anybody
So-
know where that 60-second demo
No.
Idea came
No.
from?
That's a good question. That's a good trivia.
I know.
What is
Really?
it?
I
Go
know.
ahead, please, sir.
Well, here's the thing. Demos didn't used to be 60 seconds.
No, I remember I had a 2.5 minute
That's
one,
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, one day, a long time ago, I think it was in the 90s, something called Voice Bank came
Oh, yeah.
along.
Oh.
And Voice Bank said, we will list every agency in the entire country and your entire talent roster and all of their demos, providing everybody cuts their demo
60
down to
seconds.
60 seconds.
I had forgotten that. I'm
Wow.
Sure
I
I knew
didn't
that.
forget
I
it.
did
Yeah.
forget it too.
And that is how
That's
the
how it has to
60
be.
second
Wow.
demo came into existence. It was totally arbitrary. VoiceBank said, look, we only have enough room up there. And with the thousands of people who are going to upload,
Yeah.
you got to keep it to about 60 seconds. And
Right.
that's basically where the 60-second demo came from.
Interesting.
Well, I think too is that all three of us produce demos for clients. Did you
Yeah.
just take a picture?
He did, and I was looking
My
right at it.
favorite
What is Chad
Exactly.
doing? Wait till
I
you
probably
see
had
me.
a
I'm
hand
gonna-
right in front of my
Look
face.
at
I
this.
couldn't get it.
Nice.
What
Thanks,
do I
Jack.
look like in
Like-
that,
like-
Jack?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
right.
Like the alien.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all produce demos, and I think that I mean, it's even the talk now. The demos being 45 seconds. It's actually getting cut down even further, and some of the agents are acting 45. Some of them even want 30. But don't you think in
Interesting.
terms of the
Aren't they
most
looking
important-
for the variety or the
Well, I was going to say
range?
the most important thing is probably, I've always said the first 20 seconds.
is absolutely
Right.
I mean,
true.
that's all
Yeah.
you're going to get
Yeah.
if you're lucky. So I try to, and I've always done with my own demos, is to give that variety. And it's usually like maybe if you can fit in 3 different
Up
styles
front,
in 20
really,
seconds.
really fast. Yeah.
Okay. that makes-
There you go.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. They're actually going for 30s. That does not surprise me.
Well, and the other thing too, and I say to clients is, pardon me, that even if you have, and it's a marketing thing, a marketing tool
Mhm.
is that you give the agents and
Mhm.
managers, if you're marketing with a rep or if you're doing it yourself, is that the attention span of buyers or younger, the attention span is that big.
Yeah.
So for them, keep it concise, keep it
Right.
specific, and really hit, as Joe said, the first 20 to
Right,
30.
right.
So if you can actually create that,
Mhm.
keep mini demos,
Mhm.
where agents and managers literally have that stuff at their disposal and send it. So you don't have to listen to it for 60 or even longer. If it's 30,
Mhm.
it's a good capsule. It's a really good, quick marketing
Yeah.
punch for that.
As long as that is your money read right in there in
Gotta
that
be
first.
money read.
So we do have Bob Merkel in the Zoom, and what I
Wow.
love about
Wow.
Bob is that in what we're
Bob.
talking about, everyone creates their demo, and then those of us that are using the voice exam demo and look at there's the SEO and the
SZ,
SZO,
ZO.
and then the other side is like when you mail out the link and you know exactly
Right. I
what
love
they've
that.
listened to.
Yes.
Right.
That they listened,
long?
what they listened to, did they go back and listen to something? Were they listening to a cut and they were like, I'm out? Like,
Yeah.
what cut was that? You know, you want to
Right.
identify where people might be bailing on listening to your work. And I think that that's the only demo I know, the demo player, where you can actually find this stuff
Well,
out.
the thing I love about it is that so it's no longer linear. So
Right.
anybody, the listener, can jump around.
Right.
But then it takes away what we were just talking about. where
The
you're-
length
you're
of the spot.
You're
That's
constructing
right.
a demo
You
to get
constructed
the
it
best
get
up
right.
front,
to keep
and then it really doesn't matter when you get into a nonlinear
Exactly.
Right.
presentation.
Yeah, and if I
So if it doesn't matter, let's just think about that. If it doesn't matter, they can go around here and there and jump all around.
The order doesn't
What
matter.
not only does the order not matter, but the length
The
may
length.
not
The
matter.
length
True.
doesn't
Well,
matter.
that's what Bob does. If you have a full, does he want to come on and talk? If you have a full 30-second spot and you want to let it play, it
Yeah.
can play, or you can just hit play
Or
on the
jump to the
next
next
thing.
one.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think order matters because you don't want your
Visually,
weakest
Your eye also
is
even visually on the player.
And-
you actually can see
Yes,
them.
and Bob can actually speak also to how you label those individual ones. You could say, for
Right.
example, it's a, the name of the show.
right.
Or you can say up-tempo friendly.
characteristics.
Whatever you want to
Sure.
do for your player to get people,
Mhm.
to attract them to.
So we're talking about you, Bob. I don't know how to change the way I
I think
see.
I'm on.
Oh, there
it.
you are. Bob's in. Okay. Go
There's
ahead, Bob.
Bob. Hey.
And
Yo,
he's
hi
gonna
Dave,
talk.
hi
How you
Mark,
doing,
how
buddy?
you doing, everybody?
We
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm cringing here because we're all constraining the demo to less and less and less. And what we want to do
Yes.
as
Speak up,
talent.
Bob.
Oh, you can't hear me?
No,
No,
they're
we're
sharing a
down
set of
Yeah, we're
headphones.
just hearing it through
We're
Oh,
going to
guys.
turn it up. Go ahead. Say
Go
again,
ahead.
please.
that.
We're all trying to shrink the demo because we think the attention span of the listener is short. Well, that's true. But what we want them to do is hear more and more of you. So, and I hate to keep harping on this, but the problem is the player. In the voice SAM player, you give the control back to the producer of what they want to hear.
Right.
So even if they're 30-second spots, if they hear the first 4 to 7 seconds, which every producer knows whether they like that delivery or not, they can skip and skip. But then if they like that presentation, they can hear the full 30-second spot with all the nuances that you put into that spot, how you hit the brand, your breath control, your ending consonants, that sort of thing. So it's the player. The player is the problem, and I talk about this a little bit more in my presentations. It's just the way. I mean, think about how you listen to music, right? It's not just one album with one song after another. You like to select the songs that you like, and that's really the basis of the voice amp player. It's very simple. It puts the control back in the producer's hands of what they want to listen to.
Right. So I love it. So
but it's so much more than that. That's the whole thing. That's what it started out. Your player started out just as a player, and over the years, you
become so creative.
You basically made this almost impossible to not use.
Yeah.
Because you integrate it into your business model. That's the key. It's not just a player. It's not just a static player like everything else. You tied in. You've got statistics. You've got buzzwords. What are they called? Some words.
Tags.
You know what I'm
You're
talking
right,
about.
Mark. It becomes a marketing tool in your toolbox.
Yeah.
Right.
More than just a player, because you're getting feedback from what's being listened to.
That's right.
You can adjust the playlist exactly as you want.
And it's tax deferrable too. Right off.
It is,
Of course.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's totally tax deferred.
So we're going to raise our prices because it is.
Okay.
There it is.
I'm writing off dinner after
But
this.
but it's true, and the fact that he created this player that has totally taken marketing and put it back in our hands.
Yes.
So that we don't need
I
to
love the
invest in
stats.
all
I
these
agree.
P2Ps.
Yeah.
If we take, especially if you're a pro and you already have your brand and you have this specific way you can market yourself that will help you stand away from the crowd anyway. Even if everyone was buying the voice Sam, there are still certain things about what some of us do that will always generate, those really good results.
And one final thing, I'll just mention, we recognize that the attention span.
Our internet connection is unstable.
Bob is currently unstable.
Look at Randy.
Am I okay? We recognize
There you go.
the attention span of the producer is getting shorter and shorter. And we're coming out with something, and I'm going to demonstrate it at VOMastery. It'll probably be the debut of something new. It's a completely different way on how to find voices. So if you're going to be there, you're going to see this.
Wow.
Addresses this specific
Basically,
issue.
he's going to make sure demos are going to be vines now. They're only going to be 6 seconds long.
That's
The whole
funny.
demo.
It's
But the
true.
whole demo, it's going to be a vine.
It's the thing, Bob. Is
No, it's a little more. It's a little more useful than that, Mark. But it's going to.
But it's the thing, Bob, that Randy was talking about before was just how we as coaches have to stay on top and stay current with how material is getting marketed, packaged, et cetera, that the pendulum keeps swinging this way, then swings this way. Swings that way. And so for us, it's never, I mean, we are all still learning too. So when we come to sessions like this and we hear from Bob, new platforms, new innovations and things like that really changes how I like
the way it's swinging. I like putting the control back in our hands and in the buyer's hands. I like it. The less people we need between us and the buyer, the happier I am. Other than our agents. I mean, but as I always say, our agents make 90% of the money. I mean, we make 90%, they make 10.
Wait a minute.
So we need to work that much harder to bring the work to them. So we've all got to do our fair share. Debbie Derryberry had asked regarding the master classes, will we have an engineer and will people bring their thumb drives? Yes, if you want a copy of whatever you read, bring a thumb drive. You could wait until later and then we'll have to upload the whole session and go through it and find your file. So if you want it, definitely the best way to do it with all the people coming throughout the day, bring a thumb drive, the engineer will do out the door. And so bring a thumb drive.
Bob, can we bring him back up again?
Yeah.
Whenever
Yeah, Joe.
I talk to Bob on Skype, and maybe it's there he is.
There he is. Oh, let me go back.
It's this room. Bob, I know this room better than I know some of the rooms in my house. You're always sitting in that same chair when we connect, and that I always look at that credenza in the back.
Wondering what's inside.
That used to be.
What is in the credenza?
What's behind the white door is
And
what.
the white door.
Ooh.
Actually, I saw your wife come in once and say, "Honey, dinner's ready." Get the heck off of this.
But wait, doesn't he look a little like a pharmacist tonight? Are you?
The blue.
Oh, man.
I don't want a flu shot.
And why are they always up here? You know, they're looking down on you like that. One thing I want to say that, and then I'll get out of here, folks. I'm going to tell you something. With the new markets that are emerging, and these are the ma and pa shops, and I mean the small production houses, the film companies, the explainer companies, the e-learning companies. Genre is not as important as it was in the past. And that's what we're addressing. So stay tuned. You're going to see some really cool innovations on that from VoiceOver.
Interesting.
We
Okay,
like
Bob.
it.
Yeah.
You got us.
You know what's really cool is the fact, Bob, I know that you're talking to people who are online right now and are going to be attending the event in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking forward to is after I'm done with my thing, being a fly on the wall for everybody.
Right?
Yeah,
Isn't
I was
that
thinking the
great?
same thing.
I'm really,
Thank you.
really looking forward.
Well, let's.
to hearing what
Eliza
And Mark,
is
you're going to get a
here,
great rate for when you do that. So just say.
and I don't want to boot Bob out, but I want to say hi to Eliza because I know her people are always using their voice sound player.
There
Hi,
you go.
Eliza.
You're in your car.
I love it. See this? She's in
Wait,
her car.
look at this. Wait, can we hear her?
Wow.
Yeah, she's good.
Are you able to speak?
Yeah.
Let's
For
see.
some reason, we're not getting audio from
It's
you.
not coming through. You look fabulous. You look like you're off to like an opening somewhere.
You
and-
can mime. You can mime.
I wish we could
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah, right.
Okay, are we wondering what dialect she's using right now? That's what I.
Yes.
I hear she's good at talking.
She's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you look good. We
You
can
look
give
great.
that.
Debbie Derryberry.
Here, yep.
Yeah.
Is Debbie in the house?
This is perfect.
Where's Debbie? Let's find
is
Debbie.
really
There she is.
Oh, hey, Debbie.
Now wait, aren't all of you guys all part of a coaching thing?
Sure.
Debbie, Joe, Dave, and Mark?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it called?
Open
Open.
coaches.
Open coaches.
Yes.
Yeah.
And look at you, Deb. How are you?
We're not,
No, we
We're
getting
not
audio
hearing
you.
either.
We're not getting
You think it's us or
Do you have your mic on or no?
She unmuted.
Oh, she needs to be unmuted.
Oh, make sure.
Oh,
No.
She's
Oh.
not muted.
she is unmuted.
Okay.
She's looking. Oh my.
Well,
It's not
we
you,
love
Debbie.
seeing you, Deb.
How about that?
There you
Hey!
are.
I take that back. It was
Yay.
Debbie. Hey, Debbie.
Hi, everybody.
So great to see you.
Cheers.
Oh, I love that.
I'm coming over after this. I'll have a glass.
Thank God.
Good part about working at home. Hi, Eliza. I'm sorry we can't hear you, honey. You're
I
in
know.
a dark car and stuff. I don't even know.
I was in her class yesterday, her Zoom class. I could not believe the dialects people are able to do in her class. I'm sure Debbie can
Yeah.
teach at that level too, but I'm astounded. Like
Incredible.
the nuances between, all the British dialects and the Middle Eastern and
Yeah.
Spanish. It was
I
so
couldn't believe what people were able to do
Amazing
out of
skill.
our webinar last week.
Yes.
Some of the people in the Zoom did reads and came out of it improving like
Right.
100-fold already.
unbelievable. But we talked about how, because we were talking about, Eliza, that people that have studied with her actually listen differently today than they listened when they first started.
Right.
So
Sure.
I find that fascinating, that you can actually hear nuances about the way you speak or about what you're hearing and tune into them, even, deeper and be able to. Debbie, how many accents can you do? Is it like a million? Can you just do a million? Any dialect that someone says?
I think I need to, if I really feel confident about it, it's like 7. Not like Eliza.
So if I said,
"Oh, Debbie, can you guys hear me now?"
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you can hear
I
me.
got you.
I MacGyvered it. I MacGyvered it from the
You
top.
MacGyvered it. I love it.
She did, with chewing gum and a
I would
paperclip.
venture to say, Debbie, you can do any dialect you want. The method that I'll be teaching at VOMastery, if you duck in, you get a springboard for any. You learn how to take a native speaker sample, put yourself in that vocal posture, and then just dive right in. It was so fascinating. I went to the VASTA conference. You guys know about VASTA, right?
Yes.
In Singapore, Voice and Speech Teachers Association, and I expected all these fuddy-duddy old professors, sitting bored in a classroom, drooling and falling asleep, talking about some ancient, great vowel shift thing that they just rediscovered or something. But in fact, I got Tibetan throat singing specialists and Balinese monkey chanting specialists and all these different people who are actually dialect coaches themselves. And I got to actually teach dialect coaches to shorten their method of teaching by about 6 months.
Wow.
And I got them to take on, one of them took on a Nigerian accent in a matter of minutes with this method. So it's so exciting. It was so validating and exciting, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. And Debbie, I think
That's
your
an
answer to that question will be hundreds after we talk.
Hundreds.
Oh, very good.
I love it.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, because apparently it's all a variation on a theme. So you got that, Deb.
Mm-hmm.
It's like singing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like learning a new piece of music. Exactly. And the vocal posture for a specific dialect or region is like shaping your mouth in the shape of a different instrument. So once you get that instrument, you can play whatever song you want with that instrument.
I love that. That's brilliant. Fantastic.
That's all I have.
Well, I love it. It's masterclass time. So for anyone that was wondering what happens in a masterclass, this is what happens. Debbie Derryberry will give you almost 2 hours of incredible training. Eliza, Joe, Dave, Mark, everyone here. I'll be teaming up with Kelly Doherty, who does Kelly. She's the voice of KISS FM and all the top 40s around the country.
She's like the voice of all iHeart, isn't she?
All of iHeart.
Yeah.
She's vice president, so that was pretty cool that she got that title.
I first met her through Maurice Tobias.
Yes.
We had a cocktails at the Bel Air Hotel. This is several years ago. She had just come to LA, Kelly did.
Right.
And I could tell right away that she was amazing.
Yeah, she really is, and an incredible person, and we've become actually good friends.
Oh,
so,
nice.
yeah, we're going to
She
hang out.
exemplifies the sound of radio imaging right now.
I would agree.
But not only does she exemplify it, she created it.
Yeah.
You know, when I've been doing radio imaging since 1990,
Blah, blah, blah.
about 92, 93.
Back in the 30s on AM.
Not that long,
No,
in the
not that long
90s,
ago,
Joe.
Randy.
So, but there was a way that I was doing it. There's a way everyone was doing it. But because she was a producer and because of Top 40 with all of the sound effects and the music and the this and the big heavy voices, she found just sonically what you were talking before about raising the tone, where her voice could fit, where she didn't have to over project. She could just say things in a sort of snarky, sexy, funny way that just, and it would be manipulated a little bit electronically, but it just prints perfectly no matter what they throw on top of her, what kind of stuff is in that promo.
I love this conversation.
So that's what I think that Kelly brought to radio imaging, and yeah, we've become good friends, and I'm looking forward. And then she did live. She did an MTV show recently. Yeah, well, she does
not MTV yet.
She did.
That was the Teen Choice.
Oh, Teen Choice. Who told me that? Who just said that? You did?
Me, Kelly.
Oh, you're in. Where are you?
Kelly's there.
Why don't I see her?
We got to find you in the
We don't see you in the
the
Zoom.
checkerboard of
There she
beautiful
is.
people. There's
I'm here. Oh no! See, I just got out of the shower, so now I have stringy hair.
Kelly. Do you remember
But at
when we
least
had
it's
drinks
clean.
at the Bel Air Hotel?
Oh yeah, I absolutely remember that. Are you kidding me?
You mean you don't go there every week?
No, not like Joe. I don't live there. I don't play tennis either. Yet.
Oh, but you could.
Yet. You could. You should. We'll hit with you anytime.
Okay. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Will you be here on Friday night as well, Kelly?
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah,
when
okay.
we're
I'll
doing
see you
ours.
Friday. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I can't
Yeah.
wait.
It's gonna be so much
super
fun.
So what do you think? Should we use A? Is this the big ass studio we should use?
I
Or-
really like that studio.
Yeah.
A
So,
stands
all
for,
right. So
yeah.
we're taking A.
I don't want to know what B stands for.
You know, it's the opposite of the way bras work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. A
Jack,
would be the
explain
big
that
one.
to me.
It's going to take a long time.
This webinar's getting weird. fast.
So,
Yeah, it is.
Shovita, first of all, anyone else in the chat have a question? Do.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
VR, what
Was
are we
it funny
talking?
to hear us talking about you, and we had no idea.
We had no
that you were
idea
there?
you were
We
in.
didn't say anything
No,
bad.
that's why I said I like this conversation.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
That's
jump
good.
right in.
Yes,
That
yeah.
was you.
We can start that back up anytime you guys
Sure.
feel like talking.
Kelly. You know what? You don't refer to yourself as Kelly anymore.
Well, to the creative world, it's still Kelly. To corporate, it's Kelly
Yeah.
Doherty and
Yeah.
an employee number.
Gotcha.
Well, she's the boss, so. All right, well, we're looking forward to that. I think we are giving away a free ticket to VOMastery in tonight's thing.
Ooh.
And here we are, we're coming, it's 7:05. Everyone
really?
stayed late at this studio to let us be in here.
Oh,
So we should probably pull a name
okay.
and meander.
Get the party started.
Do we have a last question while Shovita is pulling up? But thank you. I can see all these great comments in the chat room, and I really, really appreciate it. I love having all of you guys. So Maurice wanted to know virtual reality, augmented, hybrid, and the future of voiceovers. Did we talk about that at all?
I'd like to know what the future
not.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody tell me, Kelly.
Got
you
a
know?
crystal ball. and
Yeah.
I'm all ears.
Thank you for that.
Are you
What was it?
talking about virtual reality video games?
Is that what you're talking about, Maurice? Probably.
I think that's what it
Can you
Yeah.
hear me or?
Yes, we can. Hi, Maurice.
Oh, okay. Hey, Wendy.
There you are.
I have a friend that works for the Entertainment Arts Association,
Mhm.
and I attend a lot of their events. Some of the events they're talking about, not only are they video games and virtual reality, augmented reality, but they're now using applications like for travel, for education, for daily events that are just done through virtual reality.
I can comment on that.
Go ahead.
I
Gabby?
think in the world of virtual reality, your on camera and theatrical training come much more into play than strictly VO, because there is the camera, there is the stage that you're on, and it uses a lot more skills than one would use if you were strictly a voice artist. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does.
What do they call
But
that?
actually, some of the applications that I saw,
They're called
there was
motion
no one
capture.
there on stage. It was just you were watching a video, and then you're just listening to someone, like specific like the travel videos, and then there were some that were educational videos where I could sit and I can have a conversation with someone maybe in Zambia, and we're conversating back and forth, and then there's someone talking to each one of us about each one of our countries.
And
wow,
why does that make it VR?
Wow.
Yeah.
Why is that VR instead of like a Zoom, like what we're doing now?
Because you're using like the goggles, and it's actually you're able to immerse yourself into the.
Oh, and then you're having the conversation.
So that's
in
just,
that
Right,
world.
I
so you
think,
can
a
actually-
different mechanism. I mean, a lot of these, the programming that's going on now is like for a mechanic. They put on the headset, and the picture of the engine shows up on the screen, and they superimpose that onto the engine they're fixing, and they know how to fix it. I guess that can be called VR, but in video games, VR is really a stage performance. So I maybe there's going to be a different terminology for it, for what you're talking about.
And Debbie, I have a very important question for you. What is the name of that puppy dog behind you?
Oh, okay. The light-colored one would be Kiwi, and then the dark-colored one there on the couch is Mango. Yeah.
So Ann and I, our dog, Sammy, who's no longer with us, but he always had a voice. And do you make up voices for your dogs?
Does anyone not?
What do they sound like, Debbie?
Mango's a little bit like Kiwi. He just wants to like be high.
And Kiwi over there, Kiwi Brown wants to know what's going on all the time. He's a fast talker. He knows what's going on. He's kind of a bully.
Yeah.
Completely different personalities.
Kiwi is a bully because, as you know, I have a Great Dane.
Yeah.
Kiwi actually went after Magic the other night.
Really?
I was like, yeah. Kiwi has a death wish.
What's Magic's voice, Randy?
Do, do, do.
He's a little like Mango, but he's not high.
She's just a good girl.
Mango. Oh, Mango.
That's great.
Very sweet.
He's going to eat his butt now.
All right. So, someone
Let's
asked
go ahead
about
and car,
agents,
Randy. Yeah.
and you get a car. You get a car. So, how many VO agents in which regions do you recommend? You know, and I feel like I'm missing out on animation auditions. Yeah, I mean, having a franchised agent will help. You need to get into the union to do that.
Hi, Kiwi.
That's Kiwi.
You always have to have a voice like that if you're Kiwi.
I
Hi,
love
Auntie Randy.
Yeah, it's got a Kiwi.
Yeah,
Kiwi's
Mohawk.
just, he's part Martian, they think.
Mark.
So cute.
There it is. Good,
There you
Debbie.
go. Very
So
nice.
there it is.
And you should see Debbie's got some construction on her house. She's building out her studio. Her
Nice.
son's getting the bigger bedroom. She
Nice.
is rocking it. All right.
Ready? Very
Oh, Randy's,
Drum roll.
Randy's
Joe,
there.
drum roll,
There
please.
must be a live announcement coming up.
Here it comes.
Wait, what?
Have Joe do it in his game show voice.
Oh, okay.
Good idea.
Okay, Joe. The winner of when Shovita picks the name, she's going to write it down.
Okay.
And you can just write it.
Jovid,
Actually, here.
coming at you. Okay, you go.
Drum roll, and it can only be of the people that are in this room right now. None of the coaches are eligible.
None of the coaches are
I know, right?
I cannot read that one.
Oh, we know him. We know this person.
Go ahead, Randy. You know it like it's a
Okay.
live announcement.
Oh, there
It's
you
like
go.
it's like the Emmys.
Okay.
Jean-Francois, you are coming to VOMastery. Speak now or forever hold your peace, Jean-Francois.
That's terrific. That's terrific. I just worked with them just a couple of
Oh,
months
did
ago.
you?
There you go.
Yeah.
So he's serious.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
he wrote back to me, and again, Sean was just
Show.
Crazy.
Mm.
insane. You killed for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I would.
Seriously,
All right.
you were all three of them. You killed for his
Yeah.
pipes.
Yeah.
His ears must be
But
burning.
Yeah.
he needs some coaching.
Yeah.
Because he never had any formal training.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Got the pipes.
There you
There
are,
he is.
Jean-Francois.
Yes.
Hey, congrats,
There he is.
Francois.
Mark, there he is on the screen.
Where is Francois?
Popping back up
Jean-Francois.
Jean-Francois.
Francois.
Where do you live, Jean?
I live in Orlando, Florida.
Oh,
There he
Do you
is.
think you're going to be able to get on a plane and come here?
I mean, I'm gonna have to now.
Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, that'd be cool. Thank you. I'm really
Okay.
excited.
Wow, that's cool.
I mean, I'm good. I'm excited.
John, do me a favor when you come.
Uh-huh.
So I want you to come to my master class on Friday and Dave's on Saturday.
Beautiful.
All right.
And oh, you know me, I'm chopped
Please
liver.
do.
For a commercial, and if Joe thinks you've got something for a voice for promo, then you better get
Right
with
there.
He does.
I mean, I would love to. You
There
know.
you go.
You'll be busy.
Well,
when you get
guess
here.
what? It gets to be a nonstop flight when you leave Orlando. So I would have
I'm
loved
just
to have
doing-
lived.
doing that flight in November.
Oh yeah, and then because then you drive to see Zev,
Yeah.
and that's really close. Yeah. So well, we're excited to see you. Congratulations on your ticket,
Congratulations.
and thank you to
Oh, no.
thank you to everyone in the Zoom tonight. I want to thank Media City Sound Alanette, and the team for allowing us to be here.
Beautiful studio.
They're getting it ready for us. For those of you who have been thinking about coming that haven't made the move, Voices 50 is the code to save $50. And just for general session alone, I don't think you can beat the price. It's $299 with the $50 off is $249.
Wow.
For breakfast, lunch, the after party, which is food and drinks, and all of the education any one person can handle.
Roger. And the tour of Hollywood by Jack Daniels.
After he's had 5 cocktails.
You know,
And for $300, I won't take you on the tour.
Oh, you're going to pay them. That's funny. So thank you again, Marc Cashman, Dave Walsh, Joe Cipriano. It means the world to me. Bob Merkel, Debbie Dearyberry, Kelly Doherty. Thank you for coming into the Zoom. And to all of you who gave us part of your evening, it really means the world to me. This is our 11th straight week of webinars.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're working it, baby.
Yep.
And it's been really fun. And I do want to say that the fact that I do a podcast with my husband every week has been greatly helped by doing these webinars for 11 weeks.
Yeah.
It's really put me in that there's no script.
Get
You just
back into that live.
the live
on-air
thing, yeah.
It's
You know, and when we do live, it's because they
It's
handed us a
scripted.
script.
Yeah.
But this is
No,
live.
it's like back to the radio.
Do it, yeah. So anyway, so I've learned from you, and thank you all. And we look forward to seeing you 2 weeks from Friday.
Thank you, Randy.
Have a good night. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Bye, honey.
Bye.
We'll see you soon.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night, guys.
Bye. Have a good night.
Hey, Maurice, one day me and you're going to have a deep off. Just by the way. It's going to happen.
Okay. I saw the one you did with Tremaine.
Oh yeah, we'll do something. We'll do something soon. So I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, yeah, all three of us have to get together.
All right, sir.
I'm not
Have
gonna
a
make
good
it out
night.
this year. Yeah, have a good night. I'm not gonna make it out this year, but next year I'll be there.
Cool, man. All right, man.
Okay, take care.